Hey, record nerds of the internet. What do the Forgotten Rebels and Dave Brubeck have in common? They both reminded me of why I hate buying used records. Let's talk about it.
Six in the morning.
So if you ever watched my monthly records I bought this month videos, you may have noticed that I don't buy a whole lot of used records. Here's why. So when I started collecting records back in the 90s, I only wanted first pressings. The first of the first pressings. That's all I cared about. I didn't care about subsequent pressings. I didn't care about, hey, the first pressing is on black vinyl, the second pressing is on blue vinyl. I didn't care. I wanted the first one. Because basically I was buying it for it being an artifact, like punk rock baseball cards. I mean, they were baseball cards you could listen to, but they were baseball cards. It was all about owning the artifact. It wasn't about listening to the artifact. And then this was especially true after a while. Stuff became easier to find. Things would be reissued on CDs. And so, like, why would you want to listen to vinyl? It doesn't sound good compared to the slick, pristine sound of digital. Come on, man. And then, at some point in the early 2000s, I got a good turntable. And I was like, oh, the audio isn't the side dish, it's the main course here. And eventually I would come to sell all of my CDs, or most of my CDs. I still have a lot of CDs, but I had a lot more. And I started to replace the things that really matter to me on vinyl. Things I really wanted to listen to, I would buy on vinyl. And that still kind of continues to this day. If it's something that I don't really care about that much, that I don't want to sit down and listen to, I'll just stream it on Apple Music, because why would I pay money for it if I'm not going to want to sit down and really be consumed with the music I'm listening to? If it's something I'm just going to listen to while I'm in my car, streaming is good enough for me. By the time I started buying records to listen to, I had come to a pretty bold conclusion that Michael 45 RPM audiophile is coming to the conclusion of now. And that conclusion is that people really suck at grading records. It is hard to find really good sounding records from a long time ago. Back when I was buying records on the internet, this would be like mid-90s, like pretty early on in the internet. People would only grade the sleeves. Like, this would be a near mint record, this Dave Brubeck, because it looks nice. It never occurred to people to look at the record itself and grade the record. And then eventually they would get around to grading the actual record, but the grading kind of went like this. Everything is near mint, unless it looks like an ice skating rink that needs a Zamboni, which at that point then it's VG+. Or VG++, or VG++++++++++, or maybe VG- if it's in really bad shape. So, as I was buying records to replace my CDs, I actually preferred buying reissues that were brand new, still sealed, that I could slice and pull a record out and plop it on for the first time. Virgin vinyl. So, I still haven't talked about the Forgotten Rebels or Dave Brubeck. Well, I bought these last weekend at a record store locally, and I was looking through I don't remember what they called the section. It was basically like the alternative new wave punk section. I saw this Forgotten Rebels record that I don't have. I only have one Forgotten Rebels album. It wasn't this one. So I saw it and I was like, $25, but it says VG+. The sleeve is kind of beat. So I thought, let me take a look at it. And so I pulled it out, and it did not have that nice sleeve. I put it in that nice sleeve after I washed it. And can you see this? I think we can kind of see how scuffed up this is, even on the camera. Other side, not as good. Not good either. Not good either. So I assumed, in good faith, that this guy had accidentally called this a VG Plus when he really meant that it was maybe a good plus. Maybe. Like, there are some heavy scratches at the beginning of this song that I was concerned that it would even play without skipping. So I pick up this record and I walk around with it, and I'm looking at other records at a store, really small store, and I find this Dave Brubeck, and I have the music on vinyl version, and I thought that might make a cool video for me to compare this Dave Brubeck that is not a first pressing, but an early pressing from 1961 to the new pressing and see how different they are. And so I pulled this one out, and this one was actually in VG condition, VG Plus condition. It was labeled the same way as that one, as VG Plus. So I'm like, okay, I'll definitely buy this. This was $20. I thought that was a reasonable price. So I take this over to the guy, and I'm not an asshole about it, but I say, hey, this you have listed as VG Plus. Can you take a look at that and tell me if that's a VG Plus to you? And so he pulls it out of my hand, and he looks at it, and he's like, you know what? This is in great shape. I don't know what you're talking about. This might be a VG Plus Plus. And I'm like, well, dude, what are you talking about? And then he proceeds to spray some stuff on it and wipe it down with a dirty rag. I'm like, I wasn't asking for that. I would have preferred you not do that. And then he then takes it over to this record player that he has set up with this crusty looking stylus, and he drops it on, and I'm like, okay, well, at least now I can hear if that side skips, which it didn't skip. It actually didn't sound that bad. There wasn't that much surface noise, surprisingly, because it's pretty beat. So the guy's like, well, it sounds like it plays okay. I'll give it to you for 20 bucks. And for 20 bucks, this record doesn't come up very much at all. It's a Canadian band. It was pressed in Canada. And, why not? So I bought that. I brought this home. I gave this a quick dry cleaning, put the needle down, and this is surface noisy as all heck. So it looks VG Plus. And I'm not going to blame that guy for that. Most people, you're lucky if you can get a person to actually visually grade the record properly, which he had done on this one. And no one has time to actually grade these by listening to them. But if you were to listen to this, there was no way that this was a VG Plus under a listening test. The point of this is we as a vinyl community have a grading problem. And I'm not sure what we do about it. Like the comic book industry and the sports card industry, they've come up with this system where a third party grades your item and then they lock it in a case that you can never remove. I don't want to go there. I don't want that to be the case. Then they will literally be like baseball cards. All you can do is look at it. You can't listen to it. I mean, I almost see that's probably where this is going to go. You've heard it here first. CGC for records is coming. And it's all of our faults. Do better grading your records, people, because this is a problem. And until then, I'll still buy reissues until I can actually get people to grade their records properly, which will never happen. Have a good day.